joins us. So let me get the recording going. We ready? Okay. Megan, if you want to open up our meeting.
Yeah, the Behavior Analysis Regulatory Boarding meeting is convening at 9:08 a.m. on July 29th, 2022 at the Health Licensing Office in Salem, Oregon by telephone conference call. I will now call roll. Megan Johns here. Brenna Lagarde.
Here.
Brad Hendershot.
He is not present right now.
Okay. Corey Stump.
Here.
Samantha Parnham.
Here.
Marie McMahon.
Here.
Jennifer White.
Here.
Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the records. Board members are asked not to use the chat feature during meetings. For the record, public members calling into the public phone line are asked to email April Fleming at april.fleming@dhsoha.state.or.us and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties' feedback may be heard during the public interested parties' feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business. The meeting is now called to order.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone. This is Ann Thompson. I'm going to get the meeting started for you guys. The first thing we have on the agenda, which is very full, is the approval of agenda. So if we can get a motion, a second, and a roll call on the agenda, please.
So moved. Brenna Lagarde, so moved.
McMahon, seconded.
Motion has been made. I'll call roll. Megan Johns, yes. Brenna Lagarde.
Yes.
Corey Stump.
Yes.
Samantha Parnham.
Yes.
Marie McMahon.
Yes.
And Jennifer White.
Yes.
Excellent. So the next item on the agenda is the 2023 meeting dates, and these are full meetings with reports and everything. We usually have two. We tried to keep the dates as close to the ones that you have now as possible. So the office is suggesting January 20th and July 14th of 20 and 23. If everyone can check your calendars and see if those dates work for you. If they do, we would need a motion, a second, and a roll call on the proposed dates.
Works for me. Anybody have a problem?
Works for me.
That should work for me.
Okay, so we just need a motion, a second, and a roll call, please.
Lagarde, so moved.
McMahon, seconded.
A motion has been made. I'll call roll. Megan Johns, aye. Brenna Lagarde.
Yes.
Corey Stump.
Yes.
Samantha Parnham.
Yes.
Marie McMahon.
Yes.
Jennifer White.
Yes.
Excellent. So our next item is choosing the chair and vice chair for 2023. Megan has served as chair and Brenna as vice chair during 2022. We don't want to put anybody on the spot, but we have Megan's. You don't have to choose new leadership. You can go with what you have. Megan's term expires in December of 2022. So we don't want to call anybody out or put you on the spot, but you are able to reappoint if you like, Megan. And Brenna is good through the end October of 2023. So now would be the time. If you know, Megan, if you'd like to continue serving, you plan to reappoint, that's great. If not, we can have a discussion about new leadership for 2023.
I was planning on continuing to serve.
Okay, great. So if that is the case, then you would be able to continue to serve as chair if you chose, and the board can decide, do you want to keep the leadership you have? Would you like somebody new?
This is Parnham. I think we should keep him around. This is fine to me.
That's if Megan and Brenna, are you still comfortable with this?
It's onerous, but I can continue, I suppose.
You're so brave. Okay. Well, if the board and the leadership are comfortable, we could have a motion and a second to maintain the leadership into 2023 as it stands in 2022.
This is McMahon, so moved.
This is Stump, second.
Okay, roll call, please.
A motion has been made. I'll call roll. Megan Johns, aye. Brenna Lagarde,
Aye.
Corey Stump,
Did I get skipped? Aye. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
there you are. Samantha Parnham,
Yes.
Marie McMahon,
Yes.
Jennifer White.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've got that stuff out of the way. So we will move on to the reports. The director's report, the biggest news in that is that our longstanding director, Sylvie Donaldson, took a job in another state. And so she resigned. And right now, our acting director in the interim is Mr. Robert Bothwell. You'll know him. He was our regulatory manager. So he has stepped into her role. With that vacancy, our investigator and lead worker, Trampus Shuck, has stepped in as interim regulatory manager. So that's the biggest news. The other, we have had some staff changes. You might know Paige, who used to be the executive assistant, was replaced by Mr. Derek Foltz. You might have gotten emails from him. So he's handling the liaison with the governor's office and handling board members. If you have any questions or concerns, he would be the person that you would speak with. Obviously, we've gone back to business as normal post-COVID, and our lobby is open to the public now. People can come in, take exams, and get service at the desk, where before we were open to appointment only. So we're getting caught up on all the backlog of exams, and we've taken a lot of steps here to go ahead and get caught up. But we are up to speed now. Is there any questions? No, man, you guys. So we are going to go to licensing and fiscal. Obviously, I don't know if you've had a chance to look through the reports, but let me get caught up with you here. The behavior analyst licenses, we have fiscal year 21, 22, and 23 on the reports. And in the fiscal year for the state is weird. It doesn't do December, January through December. It goes the end of June through the beginning of July of the following year. So these quarters are a little weird. That's why we have a first quarter of 2023. But, it's pretty consistent quarterly, the licenses that we are issuing. The assistant behavior analyst on the slide, you don't have too many, but it's my understanding that they will become full behavior analysts. So no concerns there. And the interventionists have dropped off a little bit in quarter one of fiscal year 23, quite a bit, but we still have a lot more than we ever thought we would have with interventionists. Renewals, no surprise, most choose to renew online. It's convenient and it's easier. It's great for the office because it goes a lot quicker. And let's see, that will probably take us, it's obviously a young profession and it's predominantly female. Interesting. Behavior analyst licensing trends continue to increase, which is good. I know the concern when this board was first formed was the access to providers. So that's good. The interventionist on the fever line, it looks like a big drop, between fiscal year 21 and fiscal year 23, but it looks more dramatic. The fever line looks more dramatic than the numbers actually are. You've gone from a high of 1,617 to an average now of 1,457. But that's still, again, more than we thought we'd ever have. So we get to the money, and it looks like right now the current fiscal year 2022 that we're still in, it looks like your revenues and your expenditures about match, but we haven't gotten the DOJ bill yet. We've had a case go through, and we've had a lot of work with DOJ. So once we have that bill, that number is going to change dramatically. We also have the pooled expenditures on the bottom. That's the percentage of the overall office expenses that your board pays for. It's based on the services that you need. Obviously, you don't pay for exams or anything like that because we don't give exams for your board, but you do pay for a certain percentage based on your licensees of office expenses and staff. Any questions on that? Man, you guys are awesome. Okay, so now we are going to turn the floor to Trampus, our new acting regulatory manager, for the regulatory report.
Hello, everyone. As you can see, this regulatory report actually has 3 biennium on it. The 2019 biennium, over the course of those 2 years, we received 13 cases. 1 is still open, but we closed 12 of those already. And you can see the 2021 is where we have the bulk of our open cases. We had 27 come in, but still 15 of those have been closed. And then the current biennium, which is we're just in the first little piece of it, we've received 5, and we have 4 of those still open. For the most part, you can see Scott Edwards there. He's handled a lot of those cases. Now I was handling them, and he was handling them, but with my interim position, I'm not going to be handling cases as much personally. So that's going to a lot of that's going to fall onto Scott. So. Yeah, does anybody have any questions about this report, or any questions in general that I might be able to answer? All right, okay, then we'll move on.
Okay, so section 4 on the agenda is a policy discussion. If you read through your materials, we have a rule that includes the word grandfather in it. And the state is trying to get rid of some of these terms that we're familiar with, but could be considered offensive. They want the word grandfathering or grandfather to be replaced with legacy. You do have a rule back when the board got started for existing practitioners to find their way to licensure. This rule is 824-036-0010. The board can decide if you would like to keep this rule. No one can take advantage of this path anymore, because to get on this path, an individual had to declare themselves to us by April 30th, 2016, in order to take advantage of this pathway. Nobody ended up taking this pathway to licensure, but it exists, and it's up to the board if you would like to keep this rule for historical purposes, or to reflect the work of the early board. That's fine. I would need to change grandfathering to legacy, or the board can choose to enter rulemaking and repeal it and just wipe it away. So that would be up for the board to discuss and tell me how you feel we should approach this.
This is Legard. I don't know why we wouldn't just repeal it. Nobody used it. It was fun and all, but
this is light. I agree. It doesn't seem like there's any use for it.
This is McMahon. I actually would just change the wording in it as part of the historical record. No one took advantage of it, and that's fine, but I think it just reflects kind of what the existing thoughts and processes were at that time. So
It's fine with me too.
Okay, other thoughts? We haven't heard from everybody on the issue. Megan, how do you feel? Samantha?
This is Megan. I mean, I'm leaning towards, I feel like we don't need it anymore, so repealing it. However, I honestly, I feel like it's a low priority, so I'm open to whatever we decide.
Yeah.
Well, if
This
we
is
decide,
fine. I feel the same way as Megan. Sorry.
no, it's
Okay.
okay. I could just change the word, and they have in the Secretary of State what's called a statutory minor correction. And that allows you to go in and just swap out a word for a word, like when the Health Licensing Agency became office. So I could just change it. If I wanted to go through the repeal, it would follow the traditional rulemaking path, where I would notice that we were repealing it, take comments, and then go through the more formal process. But really, it would depend on the majority of the board or any strong feelings. So it's really truly up to you. You can go either way.
All right,
This
so
is Stump. It sounds like the most parsimonious path would be to just change in for legacy, and that would take a lot less time, manpower.
I agree.
It's
This is part of,
an
I agree.
inactive part of it anyway, so whether it's there or not, I think it's probably easiest just to keep it there and swap out a word.
Okay. Well, I am grateful for your concern of my workload. I'm immensely grateful. So if that is acceptable to everyone, we will maintain this as part of the record, and I will simply find and replace the word grandfathering or grandfather with legacy. Is that acceptable to everyone? Do we need a vote, or I don't think so. I guess we're okay. We'll just keep what we have. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, so we
Yep.
do not need a vote. Items 5, we do not need a vote on the repeal, and the rulemaking schedule does not apply. So that moves us to item 6, which is an executive session. Because we're going to be moving in and out of them so quickly and so many times, I'm going to ask everyone just for an extra beat of time to make sure that the recordings are fully switched over before we go into executive session. Are we ready, Miss April? We'll have the scripts read, and then once they're done, I'm going to record it off. Okay, so Megan, if you would proceed with the section 6 executive section script, please, and then we'll get everything switched over.
The Behavior Analysis Regulatory Board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660(2)F and ORS 192.3559A and ORS 40.225 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 9:26 a.m. on July 29th, 2022. Representative of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive session by conference call and will be provided further call-in instructions shortly. The public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. Are there any representatives of the news media on the public phone line?
Is there any member of the media or the public on our line at this time? No.
Recognizing that there is no news media in attendance, the public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. We are now in executive sessions.
Hang on, please.